Your thing.
Race fans, the ASRS welcomes you to the streets of Chicago. This exhibition event tonight, going to be a fun time. I'm Andre Grambush, joined alongside Carlos Acosta, the man pushing the buttons, bringing all the action to your TVs and computers, and doing a little bit of multitasking again tonight as we have the race information there on screen. 89 degrees, a little bit warm in the city today, so maybe lack of grip is going to come and get those guys. Partly cloudy though, so maybe some coverage to get that grip back. 14-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and as you can see by the track map, we got a lot of straightaways on this circuit, and that wind could come into play. Never know. Also, we got that additional info. Still thanking everybody for 1,000 subscribers earlier in the year. Big landmark, and awesome to see Carlos and everybody at 3Y TV able to make that milestone there. But the drivers are gridding up. Carlos, this is going to be an interesting race. We've got 5 cars on the grid and a track that I'm sure a lot of these guys are not too familiar with. Lee Staples on the pole, Jeremy Banning outside of him. Jim Foose battling through COVID to grab a top 3 podium starting position. Alan Young at P4, and Dennis Pleer in the number 11 is going to start 5th, tail end of the field. It's a very different track, Carlos. So these guys have been racing on ovals mostly this year. What do you expect in here at a road course?
I expect these guys to be on the peak of performance. These guys, they're the committed bunch right now. They show up at a street course like this. You cannot afford to make mistakes. You make one mistake and guess what? You're going to be up against those walls and you're going to be going home in the holler very, very soon. These tracks are not forgiving. They're very hard. And, well, I don't have too much experience with them because I am afraid of them.
Yeah, they're very narrow. As you can see, I mean, walls on either side, because the way they make these street courses is they quite literally just plop some barriers down on your average city streets, and they call it a track. So you can see the track map again right there. 90-degree corners for the most part. We've got a couple little kinks and one pseudo chicane on the very far backstretch there. So it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to it. Again, honestly, I think it may be a blessing in disguise that the field size was a little bit limited tonight, because it's going to give these guys a little bit more room for error, a little bit more room to kind of get separated and learn the track. I feel like if we rolled up to this track with a 20-car field or possibly even more, we'd really have a lot of chaos on our hands as they tried to figure it out, because there's just not much time to really sort yourself out in a track like this. A lot of elevation change. You can see the pace car rolling up over the bridge right there. That's one of the elevated sections of the track, going to be up and over, and I'm sure even with all the downforce these cars have, you're probably feeling a little bit light in the steering wheel as you crest that, I'd have to imagine. Then through this pseudo chicane here, this is going to be one of the more difficult parts, I would say, because you're going to want to be really close to the apex of all three of the corners here, the entry, the center, and the exit. But to do that, well, you're gonna have to be really
Committed.
a bit of a risk taker. Yeah, committed.
Oh
Uh,
no!
and we have an incident before we're done pacing. 3/4 of the field involved. Coming out of the corner there, he's going to have to put her in reverse. A little bit better of a job getting it in reverse than Jimmy Johnson. So there's that.
Oof.
They're going to
Congratulations to
gather
him.
it
Big
up
announcement today.
So what's the announcement?
He'll be running the full IndyCar season next year. The full.
Oh, nice. So he'll be doing the ovals and all that. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Coming around the corner, it looks like the pace car is going to make its way off the track this time. We should be going green. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm a little bit limited on my information because...
Oh, pace car's gone, so yeah.
Oh.
Green flag's
Yeah,
out.
here we go. Green flag is out, and it looks like Staples is going to maintain the lead, immediately diving down to block that Pennzoil machine. And into the first corner, everybody's going to be able to sort themselves out. We're single file out and away. A bit of a breakaway. Top three getting away from the bottom two there, Player and Young. I think Player has some of the least practice out of anybody. He wasn't very active in the practice session. You mentioned earlier, Carlos, he was one of the first ones here, but he was kind of on his own for 30 minutes, and so he backed out.
Oh.
And while everybody else was on... Oh, and we got a spinner, almost. Yep, and that's a front wing and a rear wing damage.
And oh, we got some debris.
And remember how we were talking about how narrow these courses are? Well, ooh, bad night goes worst.
Here's the replay.
So coming around the corner here, I'm not sure what got him sideways.
Oh, he hit the brakes a little too hard to avoid Player. And unfortunately that costed him. And his tires being hot with the reduced aerodynamics, when he hit the gas the next time by, he spun it and backed it into the wall. Took a tow. Not sure if he'll be coming back out again after this. Remember, tonight is an exhibition race. Excuse me, sorry, I had the hiccups there. Excuse me. Tonight's an exhibition race.
No points on the line.
Yeah, no points on the line. These guys are out here to have fun, but also they're testing for next year. They're going to be running more tracks like this as well next year. So this is a good chance for Jim and the other competitors that are out here who were able to make it to get a quick grasp, see how things might handle, and what else could be going on. So yeah, so a short race tonight. It's a big exhibition, big first step in the first season, and well, the way things are going, it seems like this series has potential to take off next year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially, with the support they had on the oval side of things, I think that kind of got some of these guys hooked on the open wheel sort of cars. They're so different from anything that these guys are normally used to. Of course, these guys tend to be stock car drivers. Here on the services, we got a car on the wall. I believe that was Blair. Just giving the wall a love tap. That might have knocked him out of alignment a little bit. But that's the great thing about iRacing is you have so many different cars, so many different tracks. Really, there's a little bit of something for everybody. And even the drivers who tend to stick to a certain discipline, eventually they're going to step out. They're going to try something a little bit out of their comfort zone. And IndyCar, I think, is just one of those things that it's addictive because these cars are so fast and so responsive. As we got Banning in the number 30 getting a little bit sideways. He gathers it up, though. He's all right. But these Indy cars, they are so addictive, so fast, so high downforce. It almost doesn't even feel like you're driving a real car. It's almost like you're driving an RC car with how much grip you got and how fast they go, the acceleration. And when you're used to something big and bulky, man, it's a fun change of pace. And I think when you get to these road courses, that's where these cars really shine. Of course, the oval racing was great this year. We had a lot of great events. Of course, a shameless plug, but you can go back on 3x TV and check out the ASRS Open Wheel Series. I believe we broadcasted 3 of their races towards the end of the season. And they were all really fun to watch, and I would imagine they were fun to drive as well. But these road courses, Carlos, that's where it's really fun. You got the hard braking zones, the fast acceleration out of the corners. You really got to wheel these cars, and it really puts the driver to the test, and I think they're loving it.
Ooh, some action going on here in the second pack of the 4 out on track. Jim Foose and Dennis Player have been battling each other for a while. Dennis Player did a kind of a bonsai move, trying to get ahead of Jim, but unfortunately he overshot the corner and had to give that position right on back. As seems like Dennis has maybe hit the wall maybe one too many times. Unfortunate, as it seems that his car is just not necessarily up to par compared to what it was in the beginning. But it's a nice battle going on here between Foose and Player.
Yeah, it is a pretty good battle. Like you said, he may have hit the wall one time too many. I mean, that one hit was pretty significant. I'd have to imagine there's a little bit of damage, but so far he's at least able to hold on to that 42, try to keep pace with him, and maybe get up into that third position. Jeremy Banning in second. I mean, despite getting loose earlier and giving up about a second worth of time, he's still only 2 seconds back from Lee Staples there in the five. Who, again,
He also ran the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, fastest lap of the race. He is really flying right now. And here we come on to a straightaway where there's going to be a little bit of a slipstream effect. And I'm not sure what direction the wind is blowing in, but depending on which straightaway you're on, one of these straightaways is probably going to have a bit of a headwind, and the other one's going to have a tailwind. And when you got that tailwind and the drafted car in front of you, it's like you activated some rockets on the back of your car. It gives you a lot of pace, and I think we're going to see that help Jeremy Manning. And whoa! A bit of contact with the wall there, maybe?
Oh wow, yeah. Player is has a wheel that's missing. I was hung because of the fact that it told me the wind speed, but it didn't tell me what direction. But I get to find out what type of bar pressure is going on, but I don't get the direction. But not sure what happened. But Player may be the next driver out of this race, or at least he'll for sure be going down the garage with significant damage. Let's see if we can go back and kind of see what happened. We saw this move earlier, and actually, I don't think it's actually going to show me what happened, because this was a battle earlier that we were looking at. Yeah, this is what happened earlier. This is not what happened just recently. So we unfortunately don't have a replay of as to what happened. Normally, we're working with 2 camera feeds. Unfortunately, we only have access to the one right now, going in a little bit of a maintenance mode here tonight. So Dennis Player, heavy damage, and did he miss pit road?
Yeah, he didn't go down pit road, and I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. I mean, he's got that left front kind of, we'll call it dynamic camber. It's changing every second. So I'm not sure.
It's there. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
All
there
right.
it is.
I thought pit road was where the 42 is, like the entrance was right there, but
yeah,
it isn't. Hey, we're all learning something new here.
Indeed we are, and there were 3, I guess. Jim Foose in third, Jeremy Banning 1.8 seconds back. He's kind of fluctuating back and forth, but I'd say overall he's just slowly clicking away at this lead and trying to reel Lee Staples in. Of course, there's Player on pit road there. Say that 3 times fast. Player on pit road trying to get the damage maybe fixed. I mean, he didn't knock the tire off entirely. Not entirely sure what the damage repair is like on these cars. I know the front wing at least can be almost immediately replaced, but that was tire damage and probably axle damage.
Suspension damage.
Not
I think in real life, that's when they retire the car.
Yeah, at least in real life they would. But sometimes iRacing is a little bit goofy. I know in the ARCA car, for example, you could bring that thing in completely totaled, and if you wait long enough, they're going to get it completely fixed. So sometimes iRacing is a little goofy, but I would imagine he is retired. Although he's not counted as so yet. He is 1 lap down, but he's not out like Alan Young is there. So we'll see. Keep an eye on him. But right now, Foose is in third, 18 seconds back, and the gap to second place between Staples and Banning, that has actually extended a little bit, 2.6 seconds as they run. Now, you are going to see that gap fluctuate a little bit here and there because it is a road course. And, of course, they're going to be entering and exiting the braking zones at different times, getting closer and further away. But even with all of that, I think Banning did genuinely lose time that lap because last time at the start-finish line, it was about 2 seconds. Now it was 3.2. So somewhere in that lap, the number 30 made a bit of a mistake. You can see right there, 1.2 seconds lost, which is very significant. And actually, it's really been fluctuating a lot, Carlos. Look at that. He lost 1 second on lap 2. He gained 8 tenths on lap 3. Gained another 2 tenths on lap 4. It was equal on lap 5, and then on lap 6, of course, he lost another second. So you'll see that a lot in road course racing. It's very hard to click off laps that are as consistent as oval racing, but even with that in mind, that's some pretty severe fluctuation.
It really is. Seeing it. That being said, it just seems like whenever Banning is fast, he's not as fast, or he's not that much faster than Staples. But whenever Staples appears to be fast, with the exception of lap 5, he's really fast compared to Banning. So it just seems like right now Staples may just be the slightly more consistent driver. Of course, he's got the lead and he is pulling away. But just seeing the fluctuations between who's running fast and who's not is pretty drastic. Of course, it is very early on. These guys, I'm not sure how familiar they are with this track or this style of racing. As wow, would you look at that? 6/10 of a second this time for banning, as fluctuations continue once again. So I'm not sure what type of level experience these guys have, but it is changing things up. As excuse me, players back out on track. They fixed that car. My goodness.
Didn't see that one coming. I kind of assumed that he was down and out, but I figured there might be a little bit of a chance when he wasn't considered out of the session. He is about to go a second lap down. You can see the leaders coming out of the corner behind him as he makes his way down the short chute for the hard right-hander and then the chicane. But really only one lap down. That's one of the things about road course racing. You know, the tracks are so big and the lap times are so long that sometimes you can make your way down pit road and you can do a lot of damage repair. Oh, okay. Well,
I don't think they can fix that one. Because the leader's coming up.
Oh boy, this could be bad.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do right now. That car is damaged beyond repair, at least for now. On my end, we're seeing all the wheels, all four wheels attached. I guarantee you that is not the case on his end. On his end,
I mean, we were seeing the car total, and then it kind of like reappeared. Yeah, I mean, good on him though. Like he made a very quick-witted move there. Like he had the leaders coming up behind him. He knew he had that damage. He just stuffed it in the tire barrier. He seen him coming. He knew what was happening. He just turned it in the tire barrier and said, "All right, go around me." Probably a little bit smarter of a move than I would have made in that situation, because that probably would have been angry enough about damaging my car, let alone having the leaders come up behind me again. But I'm not sure what level of damage he has, because coming down pit road again, it almost looks like the car is functional, at least in some capacity. Not very functional, but functional nonetheless.
Here's the replay. I saw him around this half circle here. Get a little loose on the exit right there. Carry too much speed. Had a bad angle. Clipped the inside wall. Then clipped the outside wall. And that state before the car reset is the state I believe that he is actually seeing. So yeah, fantastic job to get out of the way. Heavy damage. We'll for sure go a second lap down. Maybe this time more, because there is far more to repair in this car than there was before.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're even going to be able to get that repaired. I mean, again, iRacing sometimes a little bit funny, but I'm not sure, man. That thing was looking pretty well totaled when he came around.
Just too much speed, and that's what you warned about. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. The tracks are so narrow. There's just no room. If you overshoot the corner just a little bit, and another thing I'm noticing too, Carlos, is like this track in particular. And again, I'm not in the iRacing session itself, so I don't have quite as good a visual as the drivers or somebody that's spectating. But there's really no great braking markers. I mean, this track is looking like more of the same. A lot of the heavy braking zones, I am seeing the braking placards that are saying 500 feet, 400 feet. But some of these corners, especially after the short shoots, I'm not seeing those, and so they're kind of just probably choosing a landmark somewhere off to the side. Yeah, no braking plaques there, but it is a hard braking zone into a narrow corner. They're probably just choosing a landmark off to the side, maybe a specific tree or a light post, or maybe even an NPC, wearing a certain colored shirt or something, where they're just like, okay, that's where I'm going to brake. And that's not easy. If you miss that braking zone just a little bit, you can overshoot it, and the wall's going to be right there to catch you. There's no runoff pretty much anywhere at any of this track. And the other thing, too, is like with these cars, it is so easy to lock up your tires. You miss the corner, and it snowballs because you know that you've broken too late, so you panic and you get on the brakes even harder. But you know as well as I do, Carlos, when you get on the brakes too hard with these cars, you're locking up those tires and you're sliding even further than you would have if you just stayed at the same level of braking. So if you panic and you don't make the right move, you can make the situation a lot worse for yourself. But look at this. The gap between Staples and Banning is actually starting to close up again. From lap 7 to lap 10, it has consistently gone to Banning. 6/10, 3/10, 500.
No way.
4/10, and player is back. Do they have a backup car?
Whoever is in that team, whatever mechanics they have, they need to be They need to get a promotion or a raise because my goodness, that car was destroyed, and he only lost really just 2 laps. Wow.
I'm a little bit baffled. You say the guy needs to get a raise, but I think whoever's fixing that car needs to be taken to like the Pentagon to work on like theoretical physics or something, because I don't understand how it's even physically possible to take a car that had no rear wing and 3 missing tires and then put it back out on track 3 laps later. That's wild. But he's
Oh
back
my
out on track,
goodness, my man's did it. This guy has gotten 5 laps in a row. He's completed the board. He's given it full green. Not only that, that was Lee Staples' best lap of the race. And Banning just went ahead and go like, nope, you are not going to have the fastest lap of the race, and just yoinked it right back within a half a second. My goodness. As right now, Banning is on fire, lap after lap after lap. He is constantly putting down zingers. Not zingers, I don't know what the word is. But he is bringing down some heat as Andre needs you to take over for a couple minutes.
Yeah, he is really closing the gap. And that's kind of the thing about road course racing in particular. A lot of these guys, they will get better over the course of a run just because road course racing is a lot of muscle memory. And as that muscle memory builds and you feel more comfortable at the track, you can start to be able to push the car a little bit harder. You know, you come into a corner, let's say you're braking at the 400 marker, and you feel really comfortable braking there. And you feel, well, you know, that was, you know, I feel like I could have broke a little bit later. So then you brake at the 350 marker. And if the car still feels comfortable, then you're going to be tempted to say, okay, well, now I can brake at the 300, see how that goes. And you just keep doing that until you find your limit. And the more laps you click off, the absolute closer to the limit you're going to be able to get yourself, as long as you're working on actually finding that limit actively. And I think that's what Banning was doing, all those Staples clicking off a good lap there. He's actually a little bit quicker that time. But to go on board with Jeremy Banning, we're going to work our way through the double right-handed kink there into the 90 here. A lot of 90-degree corners, but this one in specific as they go into another right-hander. And coming down this long straightaway, there's going to be a hard... Oh! More issues. Bad night gets... Well, I would say bad. It's kind of been an abysmal night for
the test
Dennis
night.
Clear.
I don't think he got any damage, though.
Yeah, I think the tire barrier might have saved him there. And of course, it is a softer surface, so when you get into it.
Hold on.
Yeah, no, he didn't at all. He was able to just lock up the tire.
Did something happen to Banning?
I'm not entirely sure.
I don't think so. Let's quickly look at. I want to see this replay again. Look at the front wheels once he gets to that area. He hits a bump, and the wheels don't necessarily go in the air, but it just seems like he loses like some traction, like a lot of weight in the front wheels, and that's kind of what causes him to miss it. I don't know if you were able to catch that on your end.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at like low frames on the screen.
Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah, it's kind of what it looked like to me, at least. So very weird, and that is one of the things about these street courses is they're Banning.
This is the replay. This is what happened to Banning. He cooked it.
And then he Austin Powers it.
Oh yeah, well, he got it out though.
So that's a lot of time lost, unfortunately. But as I was saying, dedicated road courses, they're built specifically for racing, and generally these surfaces, unless you're at the Nürburgring, most racing surfaces are kept up to a certain standard for the drivers, and you don't really have too many bumps that are at least that harsh. But with a street course, man, you don't know what you're getting. They're just regular public access roads, and sometimes there's bumps, sometimes there's potholes, sometimes there's elevation changes, some things that you just don't generally face at dedicated road courses. And if we see more of these street courses added into the iRacing service, then that's something they're going to have to face more and more. But it is a unique discipline, that's for sure. And actually, I got a bit of a fun fact, as we have a bit of a lull in the action. The Chicago street course, so this is, if you didn't know, technically at this point it is considered a fantasy track within iRacing because, well, they've never actually had a track with this layout in Chicago. And no series has ever raced at a track like this in Chicago. So what it was NASCAR was thinking about doing a street race in Chicago, and they mapped it out, routed it out, and they had iRacing come out, scan the streets, and then put it in the service as a bit of a test run to simulate what it would be like to see if it would be worth it to do in real life later for the NASCAR series. However, the fun thing is that some of you may remember back in the old video game, NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup, there was an exclusive fantasy track that you had to enter a cheat code to unlock. You couldn't get it through the Thunder plates. You couldn't get it through normal means. You had to enter a cheat code. And it was a Chicago street course. And it actually only took place a few city blocks away from this track. So near identical setting. You can even see some of the same landmarks here as you could in that fantasy track way back in the game from 2005. And the layout of the track is even somewhat similar. So EA Sports predicting the future nearly 2 decades ago. Just kind of something I found a little bit fascinating.
Yeah, keep talking for a little bit. I'm going to try to see if I can pull up a picture.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As Staples kind of into a comfortable lead. Jim Foose has gone a lap down. I'm not sure when he went a lap down. I don't quite have the best visuals on this.
He went down Pit Road a lap ago to get some tires from fuel. Actually, hold on, never mind. He's still in Pit Road. Not sure what's going on.
Yeah, and maybe some damage getting fixed up. Maybe not feeling too well. Again, Jim Foose was under the weather. For the viewers at home, he's kind of battling some COVID-19 right now, so best wishes to him. But maybe just starting to feel like, all right, I'm getting a little bit tired, a little bit worn out. We're going to pull it down Pit Road. Hopefully he gets back out on track, but we'll keep an eye on him as Staples continues out to a very comfortable 10-second lead. Got to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that it's only 10 seconds with Banning, getting sideways, getting trapped between the barriers there momentarily. Would have imagined that he lost more time than he did, but only 10 seconds as it stands. So the number 5 machine making his way down the second long straightaway into this hard left-hander. Man, and the angles that they have to take in these corners, it is really, really crazy how close they got to get to the outside wall and then the inside wall. They're just cutting it so close, which is kind of what bit Dennis Clear earlier in the race, and now Staples seems to have it down to a science, just the way he's arcing it in, arcing it out, and the gap to Banning shrinking ever so slightly, 10.05, which is a little bit closer than it was before. Jim Foose still on pit road. He's 2 laps down now, so man, imagine if Jim Foose stays on pit road and Dennis Clear actually unlaps himself to Jim Foose, gets himself back in the top 3 after everything that's happened. That would be quite impressive, to say the least, as we're on lap 17 out of 48. Again, a very short event tonight. Not too many laps, which I'm sure these drivers are thankful for. Sometimes in the lower field count races, these laps can kind of drag on. You're not really battling with anybody. It kind of becomes a bit of a test of your mental fortitude. How much can you stay focused, when you're not actively kind of forced to stay on the ball with the adrenaline and everybody around you. As again, another lap gets clicked off by our leader, and then not far behind him, that's the 30 on your mini map there on the bottom right of the screen. He's crossing the start finish line now, so really they're about 1 short shoot away. Just as the number 5 is pulling out of that short shoot, 30 is pulling into it. So gap is continuing to shrink, but Banning's issue tonight so far, from a spectating perspective, has just been consistency. I think when he's good, he can be faster than Staples, but he's just made a number of mistakes. He's just riding that edge of controllability. That's a new word I've come up with in the moment there for these cars, but he's just kind of on the edge, and it's caused him to make a few mistakes here and there. And the thing with road course racing, it's not like oval racing. I've always, back in the day, in the old NASCAR Heat video games, I was kind of considered a bit of a road course ringer because I wasn't the best on the ovals. I was, maybe top 5 at best, but then we'd go to a road course, and generally I could win those races. And so there would be times where people would hop in a practice session with me, and they'd ask me, what is the key to these road courses? What do you do to find some success? And whether you're playing an arcade game like NASCAR Heat 5 or you're playing a simulator like iRacing, it still holds true. My advice was always, you will lose more time overdriving than you will ever lose underdriving. Because if you overdrive, you're liable to wreck the car or overshoot the corner, find yourself going out of bounds and having to correct yourself. And any mistake you make overdriving is going to cost you a lot more time than you would lose maybe a few hundredths of a second or maybe a tenth or so, braking a little bit early, taking it easy, and keeping it in the comfort zone. And that is what Staples doing. You know, he's not the fastest car on the track at his best. I think that definitely goes to Banning as he continues to chip away the lead. But Staples is consistent. He's in the comfort zone. And while Banning is fast one lap and slow the next, Staples is just continuing to, keep the gap kind of consistently fluctuating to Banning, but his own lap times are staying pretty stable. So kind of a differing ideology. And of course, it does depend on the car. You know, there are cars where you do want to be on the very edge all the time. You do want to be overdriving. For example, the Mazdas. When you race Mazda MX-5 cars, very low horsepower, very low grip cars, but at the same time, they don't need grip because they are so slow. And those are cars that you can push all the time, and it's very hard to overdrive. But Indy cars, you're going to overdrive them very easily. It's a very easy mistake to make. So just whatever the driver's comfortable doing. But Banning has closed the gap by about a second over the last few laps, 8.9 seconds now. And I mean, he's got the time as we have the time differentials there on the bottom of the screen at 1 second, 1/10, 2/10, 1/10, 8/10. Consistently faster than Staples. But again, when you're not consistent, he could lose all that time back with another mistake. I mean, he was within 1 second of Lee Staples, and then he made that mistake overdriving, and he was 10 seconds back. So he can turn laps like that all he wants, but he's got to make sure that he's consistent about it, make sure that he does not make any more mistakes, especially because we are closing in on the halfway point of this race. When we complete 24 laps, we'll be halfway, and we're only about 4.5 laps away from that. So very short lap times at this street circuit. You may have noticed about 1:18, and the tire fall off. I'm not exactly sure why, but there really doesn't seem to be much tire fall off. These guys have been running the exact same lap times from the time of the green flag dropping up until now. 20 laps later, it has been in the 1:18 bracket. Our fastest laps have been in the high 1:17s, and our slowest laps have been in the 1:19s, the low 1:19s. But overall, it's consistently averaged out to 1:18. And again, I gotta wonder, because IndyCar does have a lot of tire wear, and I believe this is a fairly soft compound tire. So 20 laps later, not seeing much difference. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we saw something similar with the other races that we've done that have been in the road course, and even some in the ovals where just the tire wear just kind of didn't seem to be that big of a deal. In the last race we did at Indy, where we were proven wrong every single second, and it haunts my nights to this day so far. There wasn't that much of a tire wear. Now, Andre, I do have some bad news. I was trying to see if I can pull up your. I thought you did a video about Chicagoland, or not Chicagoland, the Chicago Street Course, but no, I don't think you've done one. So I tried to see if I can pull it up.
No, see, I didn't include that in the fantasy track video because at the time it didn't have a real life inspiration. It was just purely fantasy. So, but now it's kind of got some real life ties. So who knows? Maybe episode
maybe
2
a part
coming
2
shortly. Yeah. But it is interesting though. If anybody's ever played the old EA Sports game, it is eerily similar in terms of layout. And again, a lot of the scenery, the buildings in the background, haven't really changed that much in the last 15 years or so. So you're still seeing them, from that track to this one. But it's pretty, I would say, straightforward race right now if you're Lee Staples, Carlos, because even though he's got Banning closing in, I think he can kind of reliably feel like, okay, Banning, he hasn't been the most consistent. Eventually, he might make another mistake here. And
I don't know about
for the
that.
most part, take it easy. Try to hit your marks, bring it home. I mean, 8 seconds is quite a bit. And at this point, we're not even really sure if, for a second there, it looked like Banning was intentionally going into the turning lane there, but but Staples could be taking it easy right now. I mean, that's the other thing. When you have a 10-second lead, or now an 8-second lead, you tend to drive it a little bit easier because there's nothing more embarrassing in motorsports than having a massive lead and then wrecking yourself for no particular reason. So might be taking it easy. I guess we'll find out. Foose is still in the pit, so I'm going to assume we're going to consider him out for now. But Dennis Clear has unlapped himself to Foose, so that puts him back in the top 3, 4 laps down, maintaining his pace pretty much at that rate. So banning now 7.6
Oh
seconds.
no!
Well, I hate to say I called it.
Oh,
but I called it.
Man. Oh, and that's it for his car. And what sucks is that I cursed him even though I haven't actually said anything. I was waiting for you to stop talking so that I would add on to what you were saying and kind of offer a counterpoint to your point, where I was going to say, yeah, Banning made a couple mistakes, but these last 10 or so laps, this is the longest stretch. He's been very consistent, constantly knocking off fast lap times. I think his time of making mistakes are over. And before I could even start that sentence, he made a big mistake. He for sure has suspension damage the way he's driving it. Very gingerly around the track. The car isn't behaving like he wants. You can even see, maybe not you, but people watching the stream can even see that the front tires are kind of leaning and banked towards the right, which at a track like this, you probably don't want that to happen. So heavy damage for Manning, and I think for sure this is going to mark any chance he had of winning out.
Yeah, it would take another big wreck by Staples, and Staples hasn't made any mistakes, so this is a huge hit to his chances. If there's one thing I've learned, Carlos, over all my time watching motorsports and racing for myself, it's just that, when you're closing in on the leader at the rate that Banning was, especially at a track this difficult, you're right on the edge. Like, you're flirting with disaster, absolutely flirting with disaster, and you can only flirt with disaster so long before it comes back to bite you. And he was fast, and he was doing one heck of a job wheeling that thing, but I mean, again, you can only tempt fate for so long. And with these Indy cars, I think that, maybe the tire wear isn't really affecting it too much. Just go back to our replay here, you can see just a little bit of lockup, overshot the corner a little bit. And again, Carlos, that's kind of ominous. Earlier, I mentioned some of these corners don't have braking markers, and that's one of them that didn't, So I'm sure Jeremy probably had a marker, kind of off the track in the scenery that he was kind of using as a pseudo waypoint there, but it's easy to overlook those, easy to miss those, as we now have Lee Staples coming down pit road. Is this
a halfway point
stop? It is the halfway point, so I would assume they couldn't make it all the way on fuel, correct?
No, they more than likely would not. But the halfway point, going to bring it down. Your only competitor has pretty much just binned it. Come down. It's not exactly the halfway point. Right now it is, but, right there. Quick, easy, and you're back out there. As a matter of fact, so is Jeremy Banning. Only lost one lap in that whole exchange.
Yeah, lost one lap, and this could be interesting. They're pulling out pretty close to one another. Well, I guess there's a bigger gap than I thought there was. They're about half of that short shoot away. I was going to say, if the 30 cycled out right behind Banning and he got all that damage fixed, it'd be interesting to see what he did, because it is an exhibition event, and I feel like sometimes that kind of promotes some pretty aggressive moves. And when you're a lap down, you got nothing to lose in a race like this. I could have seen some aggressive moves, but he's just too far back now, you can see. And honestly, I think there may still be an issue with that car, Carlos. Look at how much the 5 was able to extend that gap just in the half a lap they've made so far. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yep, he's got issues. He's
oh no, Lee Staples in the wall.
Okay, nobody wants to win this race, Carlos.
Oh my goodness, I just saw the notification. Oh no, that's even worse. Initially, I was saying, oh no, because I looked at Jeremy Banning and I went to the roll bar, and that's him holding the wheel straight.
Yeah, he's got to turn completely to the right to go straight. Now, luckily for him, well, I was going to say luckily there's a lot of right-handers, but I'll tell you what, he's got 2 pretty sharp left-handers.
Yeah, those are...
have to contend with as well.
Well, wouldn't the left-handers be the better one? It's the right-handers that he has less steering input for.
That's true, but that's worse for him, because there's a lot more right-handers than there is left-handers on this track. So I got to be honest, Carlos, I'm just... I'm befuddled, I think is the only word for it. Lee Staples may lose the lead to a man who is crab walking down the straightaway.
Here's the replay.
Uh, yeah, we're gonna take a look at this, see what exactly happened to Staples. I'm confused. He had a lap lead. I mean, if I had a lap lead, I'm going 40 mile an hour down the straight. I just don't get it. If I got a lap lead, I'm on a Sunday drive. That's true.
You know what? I think that's what it is. The fact, oh man, the fact that he was taking it easy and he had cold tires. I feel like some of the times, like at least for me, I'm not a championship contending driver, but I make the majority of my mistakes when I'm trying to take it easy. When I'm not pushing my car to the limits, because these cars, they're designed to go fast. So when you're not going as fast as the car wants to be, all those aerodynamic tricks just you're not getting the mechanical grip that you really truly need. And so you can make a mistake. Plus, adding the fact that these are cold tires, it makes it even harder, or I should say it makes it even easier to make mistakes like this. And right now, Lee Staples has lost that lead. He is currently in second.
Yeah, and he had run 20 plus laps on warm tires, and I've done that a lot where, you get in the long run mindset, you've got warm tires, you get used to how that car handles. Then you come down pit road, you get fresh tires, and you don't have the heat in them. The pressure isn't up to snuff, and you get up to that first corner and you try to drive it like you did on those warm tires, and they just don't cooperate. As now, Banning is in the lead, as you mentioned, Carlos. He's got a 30-second lead and growing as the 5 car is in pit road trying to get that thing fixed up. But I'll tell you what, depending on how long it takes them to fix that car, and if they can fix it, what a turn of events if Dennis Player could get back around Staples and be in second after everything that he's been through. But then again, everybody in this race has binned it at least once.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's a race unlike any other, and not just because of the track. I mean, it's really weird. Normally when you go to the onboard camera and you follow along with a guy who's got his steering wheel 50 degrees to the right going down the straightaway, that's not the leader you're riding on board with, but it is tonight.
Oh man, Lee Staples has left pit road, still on the same lap. Oh wait, hold on, never mind. Now he's a lap down. Courtesy move to let Banning go by.
For a minute there, when I seen that 122, I almost thought it said a second 22. And I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, I was baffled for a second. But so Banning now has a lead by a lap.
Yeah.
And that's I'm curious to see what Staples can do here, because I feel like he's probably got the damage fixed up a little bit more than Banning, but at the same time,
I mean, he's holding the wheel straight.
Yeah, he's holding the wheel straight, and I wonder, is what we're seeing on our end accurate for Banning? Like, is he actually crab walking down the straightaway, or is our iRacing feed just kind of off a little bit? Because, man, if he's really holding it to the right and he's keeping the pace that he's keeping right here... Oh, no!
Excuse me, sorry, I also had to sneeze at the same time.
You've got to be kidding me. He hit me.
No, they didn't make contact. They came close, though.
No, but I think Banning did hit the wall, though. I'm pretty sure.
No, he overshot the corner. Here, hold on. I got the replay.
All right, let's take a look at the replay. Again, I'm kind of watching flipbook version of this race, so it's hard for me to tell. But, yeah, coming up over the hill, he's going to overshoot it. Let's see if he made any contact with the wall or not. No. He was fine. And wow. Heads up by Staples, too. I mean, Staples was able to stop in time. It actually ultimately played out in Banning's favor because Staples stopped so much that he lost a little bit of time. Of course, again, a lap between them, so...
Let us not forget, Banning, before he was leading, he found himself a lap down with heavy damage. So right now, Lee Staples is a lap down, doesn't have as heavy damage as Banning does, but all that could change in a matter of corners, like we saw earlier. And okay, here's the thing: Banning's car isn't crab walking per se, because the suspension damage isn't on the rear; it's on the front, and you can kind of see like the front wheels. They're both pointing kind of like different directions, so that's kind of why he needs to have it turned a certain way for it to go straight. but it doesn't show it like as if it's crabbing on our end. But if you look closely at the wheels, the camber, the angle, you can see there's a big difference as Player has now pinned it.
That is 5 times, I think.
There's no point in counting. It's a test exhibition. I almost said charity race. It's a test exhibition race. You know, at this point, go out there with like half a wing. See how that works out for you. Although
Yeah,
I do think he may have suspension damage again.
Gather up the info, figure out
Yeah.
how that car handles when it's damaged. So you know when you run these races for real, then you know what the car is going to be capable. Although I'll tell you what, he's going to really struggle turning one way or the other because having one side of the wing, not very fun. So he's got the left side of the wing, which means he's not going to have a fun time. What would that be?
Turning
Turning
right.
left? Turning right. Okay, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
left.
he'd have
You're
a-
right. You're right.
Okay, yeah. He's gonna have a bad time turning left, unfortunately. But when he gets to those right-handers, man, he's gonna be. He's gonna be
Still at
flying
a disadvantage, but not as bad as turning left.
as he does bring it down pit
Yeah.
road. He's gonna try to get that other half a wing. He can probably build one out of flex tape, maybe get that car back out there. They've done it before. I have no doubts as to the proficiency of his repair team. He'll be back out on track, I'm sure. But these two drivers still kind of, it's a shame they're separated by a lap because they are really close in pace right now. And it has been one heck of a battle between them as that gap is nothing right there through the short chute. Incredible.
Staples is hitting that L2 button for sure.
L2 to intimidate as they come through the corner. Oh! Another lockup by Banning. That's going to put Staples with a run down the straightaway. He's going to get around him. That's his lap back. Now, can Staples try? I mean, a minute 21. He's got 19 laps. He'd have to be over 2 seconds a lap faster. But, being in front now and having the less damaged car,
He probably is.
maybe.
I mean, look what happened in lap 27.
Points. He could. He could theoretically. But it would be a very tall order.
No,
It
I
would be
think
difficult.
this lap easily over 3 seconds faster.
We'll find out as they work their way through the second short chute here into the hard right-hander and then the half circle, crescent moon, whatever you want to call it. Again, very difficult part of the track, but not the most difficult because that's not really where we've seen the incidents tonight.
Yeah, we have. Well, exit of the crescent moon. That's where we've seen
Yeah, the
some incidents. Yeah, you're right.
exit a little bit difficult,
Yeah.
but entry seems to be all right. So here they come, and that gap did.
It's
quite a bit. I'm
these
curious
last
to see.
sets of corners, the damage that Banning has. That's where he's really limited, especially the drive off on the onto the long straights. That's where he's struggling a lot. So right there, let's take a look. Was it over 3 seconds? It was. Oh well, no, it wasn't. It was 2.9. So almost there.
2.9.
Almost.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna be real. If he had like 10 more laps than he actually does, I'd say it's a sure thing.
No, I
As
think
it
he's got
stands,
it.
it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close, and he can't
This
make
lap's
any
gonna
more
be even
mistakes. That's for
faster.
sure.
This lap for sure is gonna be over 3 seconds.
It probably because I mean he got around him partway through the last lap, so he's got a shot. And what a change of events that would be. What a shock. I mean,
Banning, it seems like the best he can do is like low, or I should say slow 121s, or quick 122s. But Staples, he's running, I want to say, half a second to maybe even a second slower than his car at like 100%, like, or 0% damage. So he is on pace right now, and I do think he will be able to get at least around and have a shot at getting the lead back based on speed. Let's take a look.
definitely
3.5.
Ooh, 3.5. That's he's got a shot at it. That's for sure. As they work their way through the first short chute.
Oh, Banning just stepped it up.
Staples.
It's a 120.429.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see the guy that you know that's coming back from the lap down, and he's pulling away. You're probably going to try to push that car, but again, he's got to be careful because he had enough issues pushing that car earlier. Now he's got damage, and trying to push a car that's a little bit damaged, that's even a little scarier, I would say. But I mean, the same thing goes for Staples, because you know his mindset right now is it's going to be close. And, you know, if I get there, it's still not a guarantee that I pass him. So you know he's pushing that car, trying to catch up to him as quickly as he possibly can. And this is probably the first time all race long
Oops,
that
my
he's
bad.
really
Ignore that.
pushed that car. As we have Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the biggest Jeremy Banning fan. He's loving this show right now.
He is
As
he is smelling what Banning is cooking.
absolutely. Do you smell what Lee Staples is cooking as he is closing the gap? Let's see what it was this time. I don't think he extended the gap
Ooh.
as much that
Wow,
time.
that
One
was
point.
not as impressive.
Well, I don't think the 30 car has. What do we got here? Because the 30 car is going to cross the line. What do we got?
121.5.
Okay. So the 30 car has stepped it up. He may not get to him. The 30 car may cling to life here, as he is.
Just me.
Yeah, I think he might, as he found something, whatever it was. And by the way, Dennis Player is still on the circuit. He's 5 laps down, looking to get himself a podium. As man, what a roller coaster night it's been for Dennis. You know, going from being the first car to be really involved in an incident, multiple laps down, and then he finds himself back up in third, past 2 other cars. I'm really
Oh,
surprised
it's not over.
what happened to Alan Young with all these other cars that we've seen get repaired the way that they have.
Oh no.
Fixed up. As okay, more issues. We got to stop talking about Dennis every time we talk about him. We are. I think we're giving him the curse there, but yeah, I'm surprised they weren't able to get Alan Young's car fixed up, because tire lock up there from the 30 and cutting it close to the tire barrier there.
2.9 seconds. Alan Young he's had a very busy day today. He's already run a couple races. So having showing up in here, practicing, running a couple laps, getting involved in a first incident, I don't fully blame him for packing it up for the rest of the night. But you know, maybe what could have been. Alan Young's a very talented driver. With all the issues and mistakes and crashes that every single driver has experienced, maybe he could have been able to find himself in victory lane. But right now, Alan Young's probably just chillaxing, maybe sipping some wine in a bathtub, and honestly, you know, he'll be perfectly fine to do that. 15 laps to go. I gotta say, Jim, I know you're out there watching. I hope you're feeling better, battling through COVID. But I don't know what it is about these races we've done. Every single one of them has been, you know, unfortunately, these are the lowest car counts we've ever broadcasted. But these are some of the most fun and exciting races I've had the privilege to do. The last race at Indy, we all got proven wrong every single time. And with the amount of drivers, it normally with other people, other leagues, it could probably be a snooze fest. But this is keeping me entertained. There's really 2 drivers that have a shot at winning this.
Second.
I know. Oh my goodness, 4.5. This is what I'm talking about. We really don't know who's gonna win this. Player could still technically win this.
I mean, yeah, if these 2 drivers wreck themselves out like totally in totality, a player could technically get a win. I mean, it's one of those situations where you know that 5 is just driving the wheels off of it, trying to get his lap back, and time's running out. I mean, time is definitely not on his side. We've got 14 laps remaining in this event. I think he's going to have to continue to click off these 4-second faster laps. I'm curious to see what it is this time. If he's 4 seconds a lap faster again this time, I would say maybe Banning got the wall again and we didn't see it. Maybe got a little bit more damage because.
Well, I mean, look at the differential. It's 121,
yeah.
like 121, 120, 121, and then 123, and then a 121. So I don't think this one's going to be another 4-second lap time, but or not lap time, like lap differential, but it's still going to be fast.
Yeah, it could just be the variation of just trying to drive the car with all the damage. It's hard to do consistently, so you're gonna have fast laps, slow laps. That could be it. 5 car goes across the line, and it's 2.5, so still faster. Ah man, I'm gonna place my bet right now. I'm gonna say I don't think he's got enough. No, the 30 car was, I think, stopped for a second in the final corner on the mini map.
He is
Yeah,
he is
he's
heavily
done.
damaged. Oh my goodness. The tides have turned again.
I just happened to look at the minimap and I seen him stop, and I thought it was the video feed being frozen, but then I seen the cars moving and I was like, no, he's actually damaged. So he's bringing it down pit road. I think that hands the win to Staples again. Uh, but I mean, we've said that how many times tonight, and it's nothing we've said has been true. So, how the turntables. How the turntables indeed, as Staples is working. Banning is probably slamming on his steering wheel. Get this car back out there. Get me out there. The old Days of Thunder line. Change my tires. But it's probably going to take him a little bit longer to get that car fixed up. We'll see. Here comes the 5 through the final corner. I'm just watching this 5, hoping that he doesn't just bin it again, because, man, I don't know if my heart can take much more of this back and forth.
Oh, they're out. He's out.
He's out, and here comes the leader. They're going to cycle out relatively close.
Oh, that wheel's looking kind of straight, not going to lie.
I think he's got it fixed. And we know that when the car is at peak performance, Banning is capable of being faster. 1.9 seconds between them. How? Carlos, how?
Jim, you mad lad. Jim knew. He probably didn't expect this was going to happen, but he knew we were going to have some exciting racing. And wow, these two drivers there are racing maybe not necessarily to the best of their abilities, but they are racing their hearts out, and it is giving us pure excitement right now. So I expect Staples to be a little bit faster for the next lap or two until Banning's tires heat up. And then maybe we might be able to see Banning start chasing him down. The question is, how much time will he lose to Staples? Because he's losing some time right now with those cold tires. Maybe still getting a feel of exactly what this car can and can't do. But wow, this is an amazing race right now.
I don't understand. Both of these cars over the last 30 laps have been multiple times. Okay, so here we got a replay. And coming up over the bridge, or the crest of the hill. It's not really a bridge.
Oof.
Just locked it up, and tire barrier got him.
Oh, that's how he got really lucky. That was right there in pit road.
Yeah, that definitely was lucky. But again, both these cars over the last 30 laps, they have binned it multiple times. They've been down pit road to get full repairs multiple times. And yet, here we are, 12 to go, and there's 3 seconds separating them. In all my years watching races, and all my years commentating, and all my years racing myself, I don't think I have ever seen anything like this. Genuinely, this is a first. When I showed up tonight and you told me there was going to be a 5-car field, I thought, okay, well, it's probably going to be a pretty kosher race, probably not a whole lot going on. I did not think that this race would put on more excitement and more unpredictability than a 40-car stock car race. But it has. So what an event. And look at this, Jeremy Banning closing the gap slightly now that he's got the warm tires. At one point he brought it down to 3 seconds flat. Coming around this set of turns, it's going to be down to 2.98. He's got 12 seconds to reel in this 2.8 seconds. And I think, again, at his peak, Jeremy Banning is capable of being faster. He's turned faster laps.
No
it's just
way.
Oh, 9, 10. Oh, my goodness,
He
Carlos.
just ran the fastest lap of the race. Where are these mechanics? Are they getting them from, like, Oxfordshire or something?
Did they put in a higher horsepower engine while they were sitting there? This is insane. I am genuinely baffled here. He's going to close the gap. He's going to get there, I'm pretty sure. Question is, can he make the pass? Can he make the overtake? This is a track that is, again, as we've mentioned numerous times, very narrow. So you kind of have a one-line situation through a lot of these corners. You've got to hit the apex, the outside, and the inside. I mean, you can't get much further inside, and the outside's not going to work very well. So he's going to have to set it up to get a run either out of the corner, down the straightaway, I would say, is his best bet. It's going to be tough to pass, but he's definitely got the faster car. 1.2 seconds now. Working their way into the final short shoot for the right-hander to start-finish. And there they go around the final corner. 1.2 seconds separates them with 10 laps remaining in this event. I don't think anybody could have predicted the way this race has gone. And if you say that you did predict it, you are a dirty liar. And I don't appreciate liars. And I don't think anybody could have predicted that a 5-car race would have come down to such a close battle at the end, either way, even if the race hadn't gone the way it had. I don't think anybody expected it to be this close with only 10 to go. And yet,
that was another fastest lap of the race, by the way.
Incredible. This man is driving motivated right now. He's like, I had a lap lead. I gave it up with that slight mistake. Well, actually, I don't think he gave it up. I think the car kind of gave it up with all that damage he had, kind of caused him to make that mistake. But either way, he lost it for one reason or another, and he wants it back, riding on board, coming through the corner. This corner right there is scary, man. Every time we ride on board, I think they're about to slam into that.
Oh, no! Oh, no!
No! No!
Please tell me it's just cosmetic damage on our end. I think he may be fine. He lost a lot of time, though. No. I think the car is damaged. I don't know. Let's see. It might be okay. It might be okay. Lee Staples just ran his fastest lap of the race. Sorry. Oh, yeah, no, that was right. He ran his fastest lap of the race. Banning still has the fastest lap of the race overall, though.
He brought it back to 2.7 for a moment. I don't think he's much slower, if any.
Yeah, I think because on my end, I saw wheel damage and I saw for sure the wing get ripped off, but that could have just been netcode and iRacing predicting what probably could have happened but didn't.
Carlos, he's closed in a second since that accident.
Oh my goodness, yeah, he's fine.
This is a problem because I'm one of the commentators and I have no words. There's nothing I can even say. I mean, this speaks for itself. This is some of the most insane, unpredictable, fun racing I think I've ever seen in my life. This is genuinely one of the greatest races, and you never expect to say that about a 5-car field, but genuinely, like you were saying, Carlos, there's something about it where even when they have the low car count, the ASRS does not disappoint. I don't think they ever disappoint, honestly. This is just the greatest kind of absurd, is the best way I can put it.
And yeah, Jeremy Manning is back up to contention. He only ran like 0.3 off his fast lap of the race, which he ran the lap before his little slip up. The question is this going to put a damper on Banning, or is this going to be kind of like a wake-up call? It's like, okay, I realized how far I can push it. I just can hold on to this, and I'll be able to get it to the end.
We'll have to see. 1.3 seconds coming down the second long straightaway here, and they're going to...
You okay, Andre?
Yep, sorry, closed out my feed for a moment, had to reopen it. But as they work their way over the hill...
Oh.
No,
he's good.
Okay. Whew. Oh man, working their way through the half circle. This is where we've seen so many issues on exit, and it's the entry actually that got Banning before, I believe. Coming out of the corner, working their way towards the second to last right-hander. There is not less than a second between these guys. 0.7 seconds, 8 laps to go. Final corner of the circuit, right before pit road.
Oh, Clear's crashed.
And we got another issue with those Clear. He'll get that sorted out before these leaders get there. But here we go. 0.8 of a second faster that time. Still significantly quicker. Through turn 1. Now into the right-hander. And that on... No, boy!
No, he's good. He saw a little bit of smoke and decided, I'll just play cautious in case he crashes into the wall or something. So that was real smart on Banning. Not going to give him the fastest lap of the race, but he's right there. So at this point, he's going to be mindful of any possible mistakes that Lee Staple could make.
It's just going to be a matter of trying to set up this overtake and make it work. Again, I think at a track like this, your safest bet is going to be to try... Oh, boy. The leader almost tagged the wall, but I don't think he did. It's going to be to try to get a good run out of the corner so that you can use the entire straightaway to try to get alongside him. So, some of the few green flag passes we've seen for position in this race, that's exactly how they did it. So working their way through the second to last corner again and through the final corner of the right-hander. I'm sorry, that was the second to last corner. This will be the final corner. As they make their way past pit road, really nothing separating them. These lap times are going to be pretty identical. I
think Staples is faster.
Yeah, Staples may be just about a tenth or two. Nope, 1/10 goes to Banning. But the thing is, it's not about closing it anymore. Like,
yeah,
he's
there.
It's just, again, trying to set up this overtake. And I'll tell you what, this is an exhibition event. And there's no points on the line or anything like that. But when you have a race like this as a driver, where you've been through so much and you still have the win as a possibility, you can still see that win on the horizon. It's races like this where you're trying the hardest because you want to be able to say, I didn't spin and win. I binned it and won, and I binned it 3 times and came back and won. So you know both these drivers are on the ragged edge, and yeah, it's anybody's game as they work their way into the braking zone.
They crashed again at the exit of the Half Moon.
You could see Jeremy Banning tried to outbrake him there, and he did. But is the 11? Yeah, the 11 got it sorted out. He's going to be working his way through the final corner here as the leaders are working their way through the second to last corner. You see on this onboard just how narrow he gets, and he's hoping that Lee Staples makes a mistake. And I don't know, man. Normally I say
he's there. He's going to drive it in there deep. Looking on the inside. No, he's in the back. Oh, no, he's... Oh, man, I don't know what's going to happen. He wisely backed off, though.
He thought about it.
Yeah.
He thought about it. In fact, he didn't just think about it. I think he wrote the check and sent it in.
Oh, we got trapped traffic.
Okay, we got Dennis clear. He's going to go to the bottom, let these guys go. No problems there. Doesn't even separate them hardly at all. So now, coming through the corner, again, kind of close the gap up a little bit there. I think Jeremy Banning's biggest advantage right now is that he can outbrake the leader. Oh, here we go to the inside. It's going to be a left-hander. Up next, does he send it? He's going to send it down to the inside. Side by side, and now the leader, Lee Staples, is going to be able to defend and just barely pull out, but he definitely tried to make that move. It was so close, and if he could have just got a little bit more momentum out of the corner, we might be telling a bit of a different story right now. Falling it back in line in second, Jeremy Banning's going to have to regroup, try again. We know he's got the speed to do it. He can outbrake the leader in almost every single corner, and as we ride on board, you can see that very clearly. But again, that may not be the best advantage to have when most of your speed and overtaking opportunity is going to be on corner exit. It's more about drive out. I'd say slow in, fast out is where they want to try to find it, but that's the first lap in a while. That is going to go to Lee Staples. Of course, that is largely a result of the failed overtake attempt. But now, maybe that still works out in Banning's favor because Staples knows that Banning is willing to throw some absolute Hail Marys at him coming through the corner. And that's going to make him a little bit nervous. And a nervous driver is not going to be performing quite at their optimum performance as they work their way through this double right-hander. Into the left-hander. Again, a huge run. Is he going to send it again? A huge run, and he sends it.
It's the same location, too.
It is going to stick. New leader, Jeremy Banning, takes the point. 4 to go into the next right-hander. What does the second place Lee Staples do in response? Does he try to push the car a little bit harder now? Does he try to send a Hail Mary in the next hairpin? What is going to happen? I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up to Banning because, again, Banning has consistently been the faster car tonight. And now that he's got the lead, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, it should be his. But I can't make any predictions, Carlos, because this race, sort of like Indianapolis, is just proving to be one that no prediction is going to turn out to be accurate.
We also have shout out to Roy and Becky's Travels for tuning in, watching tonight's race. Not sure how much you've caught, but this has been a chaotic race since the start. We only had 5 drivers. Every single one of these drivers have been involved in an incident, and the top 4 have been involved in multiple incidents. No, Staples has binned it. Oh no!
And that's all she wrote.
Oh, it's still not over.
Well,
two times today has the leader, who had a lap advantage, still wrecked the car and got him past. So it can happen. Jeremy Banning just ran the fastest lap of the race last time by. I just noticed. Let's take a look and see what happened to Lee Staples.
Taking a look at the replay, again, he's got the leader in front of him. He's probably pushing the car a little bit harder than he was when he was in front, and probably trying to use that 30 car as a bit of a reference point. And
Oh, he didn't hit it. That's good. He just overshot the corner.
overdrives it. Had to back up, but
you want to know what else? This is probably the first time in a long time that Staples has had anybody in front of him, so he had extra speed because of the draft.
That's true. A little bit faster down the straightaway, maybe even caught a little bit of a tailwind, and that's going to push your braking zone back a little bit, and then it's easy to overshoot. But again, he was able to keep it off the wall, luckily, but it's a 12-second gap as the number 30 machine of Manning is on 2 to go. So just this lap and the next, he's got to keep it clean, and if he can do that, he's got the win wrapped up in a bow on a silver platter. He's just got to not make any mistakes. But man, with the way this race has gone, I'm just hesitant to say anything about anything, because these guys have continued to again, kind of like Indy, Carlos. I think these guys have the broadcast turned on, and it's just whenever we say something, they intentionally do the opposite. We saw, Banning was a lap ahead. He had that lead lap advantage, and you heard us say that he pretty much had the race in the bag, and he decided, you know what? Nope. And then he drove it into the wall. But
and then Staples had a lap advantage.
Yep, and you heard us talking about him. He said, nope, not today. So, I don't know. But Staples did close in a little bit that lap. He brought it from 12 seconds down to about 11.4, but it's not going to be enough. I mean, 2 laps to go as here comes the 30 to take the white flag. And it's just got to be one more clean lap from Banning, and it doesn't need to even be a fast lap. I mean, with a 10-second advantage, he could pretty much set the cruise control, get on the Chicago freeway, and try to bring this thing home. Working his way around the right-hander now into the double kink here. Just got to take it easy. We're probably going to see that gap deplete over this lap, because I would imagine Jeremy Banning's going to take it a little bit easy because he does not want to replicate any of the mistakes he made. But as Carlos pointed out, I don't think he is taking it easy, which is kind of
hold on.
Nah, still 10.2. He's not taking it easy. Actually, look at this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, he's pretty much maintaining the gap. He's got to head into the right-hander. He's only got a few more corners to navigate before he is officially the winner of this race. And let me tell you, 48 laps, not the longest event in the world. We've been green for, I'd say, just about an hour, a little over maybe. And I bet that 1 hour feels like the longest hour of these drivers' lives, Carlos, because it has not been an easy hour, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 20 minutes of racing, honestly. And final corner.
And Jeremy Banning is going to win it from the lead to a lap down to the lead again. And here comes Lee Staples to finish second place, and that's going to lock Dennis Pleer into third place. Jim Foose fourth, 34 laps down, and Alan Young fifth is going to round out your field. Man, I don't know what to say. That was the most entertaining race I think I've ever commentated.
Yeah, it's we had plans in case there was like a lull in the action to take a little break if we needed to, and I at no point ever felt like we ever needed to take a break. This race had excitement throughout the course. You really could not know who was going to win this race until not even until we saw Banning finally cross the line or finally finish that final corner. That's when we knew Banning had it won. Because until then, he could have easily smacked the wall or done something that Staples could have got him by. But yeah, what a thriller! This was a race that, it's just something that you're not going to forget.
And the drivers did a phenomenal job out here tonight. But I think the true MVP is whatever Mad Lad they had fixing these cars. Because there's a lot of these cars that honestly, if we had human mechanics, I don't think any of these cars would have finished the race. But apparently we had some sort of superhuman super mechanic working on these cars, just forging new parts out of thin air and just plug and play connecting these new parts, because man, these cars were able to take a beating, get back out on track. There we go, a little bit of celebration from Jeremy Benning. I would say a very well-deserved celebration.
What a fantastic drive. Batting, of course, we saw got the win. Lee Staples in second, Dennis Pleer in third, 4 laps down, who until the leader took the checkered flag, still mathematically could have won. Jim Foose finished in fourth, 34 laps down. Alan Young finished in fifth. He was never able to finish a lap, bending it after a couple corners, unfortunately. But Jeremy Manning gets tonight's win. We'll give him just a little bit of time to see if anybody wants to hop on in for an interview. Not sure if that's gonna happen. We don't have anybody on the Discord right now, but we'll give him a little bit as we reminisce about kind of what happened in tonight's races. Andre, man, that was a race to never forget.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bad memory. I tend to forget things very quickly, but that is gonna probably stick around for a while because again, you don't see races like that every day. In fact, you don't see races like that ever. Just a really, really wild race. Again, for those of you who maybe are just tuning in or missed the early portions of the race, the guy who won the race was at one point a lap down, and the guy who finished second went everywhere from a lap ahead to a lap down to finishing second on the lead lap. I mean, it was just a very chaotic race. Nobody was free of mistake. I mean, we went into this event and it was, again, a bit of a test. It is what it was. It was an exhibition event, and it was these guys figuring out the street courses and the road courses because next year, the ASRS is planning on doing an open wheel road course series. And so they decided to do a little bit of an off-season winter test after their oval open wheel series had concluded. And, a lot of these guys, they came in not only not knowing the track, because this is a track that has never been in any other simulators or any other video games, and that has never been raced at in real life. So a huge wild card unknown to all of these guys, but also a driving style that a lot of these guys are still learning and getting used to. Now, these guys are great drivers. They're very good at adapting to the cars and the situations that you put them in. But even the best drivers, even the guys who are really good at adapting, are still going to take a while to get used to it. So we saw some mistakes. We saw the learning curve in action. And despite it all, it was just one of the most intriguing events that you could really hope to see, despite the low field count. Honestly, I think it was better for having less cars. I think if we had more cars, it might not have been quite the show that it was. So amazing event. And again, can't give a big enough shout out to ASRS. Every race we broadcast for them has been really fun to watch, at least from a spectator's perspective, and I'm sure really fun to race from a driver's perspective. But Carlos, I'm assuming throwing up the end card is kind of not getting any interviews tonight, so I guess that is going to do it for our post-race coverage. I want to thank you for tuning in, and if you did tune in, hopefully you enjoyed it as much as we did, because boy, we had a lot of fun up in the booth, and I'm sure the drivers had fun on track. We'll catch you next time, whenever that may be.